A young woman was found brutally murdered in her apartment. Detectives believed it would be an open and shut case, but they were wrong. The deeper they investigated, the more twisted it became. The wrong man was convicted. The real killer walked free. And one mother risked everything to uncover a truth the police had missed for over 2 decades. This is the chilling and heartbreaking story of Angie Dodge. Angie Dodge was born on December 21, 1977, in Washington State. She was the youngest of 4 siblings and the only daughter. Her 3 older brothers loved her dearly. With a father in the military, the Dodge family moved often, experiencing life in different parts of the country. Despite the instability, Angie grew up to be bright, compassionate, and full of life. Eventually, the Dodge family settled in Idaho Falls. Angie adapted quickly. She made friends, performed well in school, and was known for her positive attitude. After graduating from high school in 1995, she took a job at a local bookstore, saved money, and moved into her first apartment. College was in her future, but she wanted to enjoy some independence first. On the evening of June 12, 1996, Angie had dinner with her parents. They had recently resolved a disagreement, and the night ended on a good note. That would be the last time her parents ever saw her alive. The next morning, Angie didn't show up for work. This was unusual. Concerned, 2 of her coworkers visited her apartment. The door was unlocked. Inside, the apartment was quiet until they reached the bedroom. What they saw was horrifying. Angie had been sexually assaulted and brutally murdered. Her body lay next to her bed, and she had been stabbed multiple times. Her clothing was torn, and there were clear signs of a violent struggle. Investigators found skin under her fingernails and a single male hair at the scene. Angie had fought hard for her life. The police launched an intense investigation. DNA samples were collected from over 100 people. None matched the evidence. With no signs of forced entry, detectives began to consider that Angie may have known her attacker, possibly someone she had willingly let into her home. Months later, in Nevada, a man named Benjamin was arrested for a sexual assault involving a knife. He had once been a part of Angie's social circle, and the similarities between the cases raised red flags. During questioning, he denied involvement but made a suspicious comment. He claimed not to know that Angie had been raped, even though that detail had been made public. Police then turned their attention to another friend named Christopher. He denied involvement, but began to change his story under the intense pressure of a lengthy interrogation. Detectives questioned him for more than 60 hours. Eventually, Christopher confessed. He said Benjamin was the killer, and that he had helped restrain Angie. He also named another friend, Jeremy. All 3 were arrested, but DNA tests ruled out all of them. Jeremy and Benjamin were released, but Christopher remained in custody and was charged as an accessory to murder. In 1998, Christopher went to trial. The jury was shown his confession tapes and heard testimony from a woman who claimed to have overheard him confess. Despite the lack of physical evidence linking him to the crime, Christopher was found guilty and sentenced to 30 years in prison. Yet the DNA from the crime scene still didn't match him. The real killer was still out there. Angie's mother refused to believe the case was truly solved. She visited the police department regularly, demanding updates. But over time, progress slowed. She took matters into her own hands. Determined to uncover the truth, she began investigating on her own. She tracked down former suspects, confronted people involved in the case, and even put herself in dangerous situations. Her determination never wavered. In 2009, she discovered a potential breakthrough. Christopher, still in prison, had reached out to an organization dedicated to helping the wrongfully convicted. Angie's mother, more concerned with truth than vengeance, also reached out. She became the first victim's family member in Idaho to support efforts to free a convicted suspect. She watched the entire 60-hour interrogation. What she found was disturbing. Detectives had spoon-fed Christopher details. He didn't know Angie's address until they told him. He guessed she had been killed in the living room. They corrected him. He simply repeated what they wanted to hear. The witness who testified at trial later admitted she had been pressured by police to lie. It was a textbook case of a coerced confession. With help from innocence organizations and legal experts, Angie's mother helped build a case to overturn Christopher's conviction. In 2017, nearly 20 years later, Christopher was cleared of the sexual assault charges and released from prison. However, the murder conviction technically remained. But the search for the real killer wasn't over. Thanks to advances in forensic science, investigators now had a powerful tool: genetic genealogy. By comparing DNA from the crime scene with data in public ancestry databases, they found a lead. It pointed to a man named Brian Lee Drips Sr., who had once lived directly across the street from Angie's apartment. In 2019, police confronted Drips. He confessed. He said he acted alone. He had been high on drugs the night of the murder and didn't even know Angie personally. He picked her apartment at random. He said he hadn't intended to kill her. After 23 years, the real killer had finally been found. Christopher Tapp lost 20 years of his life for a crime he did not commit. Angie's real killer had lived quietly in the same town for decades. And if it weren't for the relentless determination of one grieving mother, the truth may have remained buried forever. This case is not just about a tragic murder. It's about the consequences of flawed investigations, the dangers of coerced confessions, and the importance of fighting for justice, even when it seems no one is listening. Angie Dodge deserved justice. So did Christopher. And thanks to a mother who never gave up, they both finally got it. Thanks for watching. If this story shook you like it did us, smash that like button, share it with someone who loves deep dive mysteries, and don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss our next investigation. Stay curious, stay vigilant. See you in the next video.